with Sam Cerrone and Tom Crane on Spreaker Radio. And welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone and Tom Crane, coming to you live from Portland, Oregon and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's about 5:26 on the West Coast, 8:26 on the East Coast. So, Baker Mayfield got arrested over the weekend. Again, that puts Oklahoma in jeopardy. For, again, not necessarily just his upcoming senior season where he was going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate, but future in the NFL draft, because he was going to be a potential draft pick this year. Not necessarily in the top rounds, but a late pick still. So that even puts him back even further, I think. And again, that's not a good look for essentially the franchise player of your program. Again, I know he's not an NFL player, but he is the man on campus. When you think of Oklahoma football right now, you don't think of any other player other than Baker Mayfield. He's a great guy coming out of Texas Tech. Had a great stellar freshman year. Left and then started playing at Oklahoma because, again, he was able to play immediately due to the fact that he wasn't a scholarship player. From there, he produces some pretty good seasons, including an upset of Alabama in his sophomore season. Again, junior season a little bit below expectations early on, as Oklahoma does. A couple early losses, especially to Ohio State. And, again, finished the season, I think, with 9 or 10 wins. So this season, going in, they still have some weapons coming back. It's Oklahoma. They recruit very well. Next man up, as they say. So tell me, what does that mean for a player like Baker Mayfield being the man at Oklahoma? For him to get arrested, and for what is this? I'm assuming the chances of him getting suspended are pretty high. What if he doesn't get suspended by the school? Then what does that say about the program? Tommy, hello. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right, good. So what that really means is that the program is dodging their responsibilities, pretty much. And it seems like that happens with any D1 sport that has a star athlete on their team. Basically, what they do is they just skim the bottom just so that they're barely passing their classes, barely being legal in pretty much any actions that they go with. And they put any allegations to the side, pretty much. It seems like, and you're seeing this at Baylor, you're seeing this at Penn State. Most D1 colleges have had some bones in their closet that they just keep there until they finally get released, and then boom, it's a sad truth, unfortunately. So with this, they need to make a statement and say that we are not like any other D1 colleges. He will be suspended. He will not be able to play for a year, nor will he be able to talk to coaches or anything like that. He should get not like a death penalty for football players in a college program, but he should at least, feel this action reverberate throughout all college football teams, basketball teams, baseball, whatever sport. If they push this to the side, it's going to look horrible on them. It's just going to be another college scooting underneath the rug, as I said. So they need to take action, and they need to make sure that it is the perfect action, basically.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I don't know if a year suspension, I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't shock me, I think, if that were to happen. For me, at least from my personal perspective, I think it's a little bit extreme. I think maybe a couple games, maybe 4 or 5 games in the season, that's fine. And again, it's not a good look, especially, he may get suspended more because he's the man. He's the guy. He is the face of Oklahoma football right now. So I completely understand that. From the other perspective that I'm going to flip it to, Tommy, you and I were in college once. We've had one too many drinks before. Any stories you'd like to share from a PG perspective, or PG-13 at the very least, at the most?
Well, if my parents are listening, I am sorry.
Sure.
I'm not going to give away too much, but...
Sure, that's fine.
Basically, we're kids in college. It's Rumspringa for us. In
Yes.
Amish terms, it's basically you're free to do whatever you feel like doing as long as it's legal.
Yes.
And I fully put into emphasis the legal part, of course.
Got it.
That being said, of course, there are some kids that do drink underage. I'm saying nothing, pleading the fifth on that one anyway.
Sure.
But it's just the simple fact of college. You want to experience every little bit of joy after being out from underneath the wings of your parents, and high school, where it's, if you didn't do extreme stuff in high school with your friends, this is the place to do it.
Yeah. So
for me, college was my Rumspringa. I let myself go. I made a lot of friends. I did have a lot of drinks.
Sure.
But overall, it's a fantastic time. I can't say anything bad about it.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to disagree. I think, my 21st was pretty reckless. Having to, again, and it was interesting kind of being the last one of my friends to be 21. So it was awesome in the sense that it was bummer in the fact that I had to wait, but it was awesome when everyone got to go out. So it made things a lot easier on everyone's college budget just to buy me one drink, and that was it. But a lot of people bought me one drink that night. And then the next day I had to audition for our dance club Emotion as a choreographer. And then my dance partner for that routine I get there around noon, still feeling the effects of last night per se, than the previous night. And we dance actually pretty well enough to where we actually are locked in as choreographers for the year, for the semester. So I don't know how I did it, but I'm glad I did. So I mean, I get it. I get the college perspective. I get it. You got to be loose, got to let things go their way. But I don't think, at least from our perspective, going too far and being, arrested is not the definition of a good time. I think for the most part during our time in college, we understood where our limits were, and if we got to we passed them in some occasion, more often than not. We understood we were around a safe environment where bad things wouldn't occur, and legal police wouldn't be involved per se. So I think Tommy, you and I were pretty responsible on that end. So. Moving on to football. So speaking of a lot of people who drink in England, Leicester City, the darlings of football last season when they were crowned Premier League champions. With that came the glories of Champions League, and on top of that, being the title holders in England, it's a very prestigious title to hold. That being said, the expectations were very high on Leicester City to come out and replicate their performance a season ago. They fell into potential relegation. Right now, they're in the bottom three, which means if the season were to end today, they'd be relegated, and that meant someone had to go. And in the world of soccer, they don't release players. Coaches are the first to go. So Claudio Ranieri, bon farewell. Bid adieu. And it's a bummer, I think, overall, because from the Leicester City perspective, it was a great story. It was probably one of the two best stories of the year. All sports along there, along with Iceland doing well in the European Championships. But someone had to go. And obviously we saw the effects of that the next game when they played Liverpool, a top contender for the Premier League title this season, winning 3-1. Headman, striker Jamie Vardy scored a brace in that. So overall, do I expect Leicester City to bounce back? I hope so, strictly for the sake of the manager, because it would be really embarrassing from that perspective for them to be relegated to just a season after they were promoted Premier League champions. Did Ranieri had to go? It's unfortunate to say it, but yes, because someone had to go. And at the end of the day, you're not going to release players for playing poorly. You're going to release the coach for not motivating the players to play there. On top of that, the lack of depth Leicester City had was unfortunate. Because for a club like that, they were just starting to get into money, get some money from the riches that are the Champions League benefits from being in there season in, season out, on top of being crowned Premier League champions. So it allowed them to spend more in free agency. However, a lot of their players were picked off to other teams, namely Chelsea and other clubs. And that kind of put a bind on Leicester City and to how their performance was going to be this season from the beginning. You know that they weren't going to be in the Champions League. You know that they may not even finish in the top half of the table. But as long as they stayed above relegation, that would be fine. But clearly it's gotten to the point where they're in relegation zone. They need to figure out something right now because we're in the last 2 months of the season. So if they don't pick it up, it's going to be really, really difficult for the Leicester City fans to swallow after they've just been crowned Premier League champions a season ago to now going down a division. So, Tommy, we're going to go from soccer to money. So, I wanted to kind of, again, new topics every week is what we aim to do here on the Spicy Sports Show. So, I get these notifications because, excuse me, I have the app, I have the lottery app, and so they always show me the winning numbers every week, every day. So I'm always interested to see, hey, would I pick those numbers and, whatnot. And as soon as it gets to over 100 million, 200 million, I think at one point it even got to $1 billion. I was like, you know what? Let's buy a ticket. Let's just see what happens, because why not? So Tommy, $100 million. Let's say that comes to your way tomorrow. What are you doing? Where are you at?
All right. Well, if it was $100 million, I would definitely set about a quarter aside in savings, definitely. Another quarter I'm going to give to charity, to specific ones, just because, you don't need that much money to live on. That's my perspective. I'm modest when it comes to money. I save, I try and buy stuff for my wife, making sure that she's happy, but I know she doesn't care about material gains as well. But so that's why I feel like a quarter should go to